News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And a very good evening to you. This is Newsline Live, and we're broadcasting as we almost always do from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. This evening, it's a great pleasure to welcome with us our new Minister of Justice, recently appointed in Kandy, and he's right here. Perhaps some people say one of Sri Lanka's youngest ever Ministers of Justice. He's right here with us on the program, Mr. Ali Sabry. Very good evening and welcome on the program.
Very good evening. Thank you for having me.
It's our great pleasure. Can I start straight away, please, by asking you, there are other questions, but one of the main questions that have come through from our viewers is, does President Nandasena Gotabaya Rajapaksa have the right to hold the defense portfolio?
Yes, yes, he does have, because in terms of Article 4 of the Constitution, he should be the commander of all the forces and in charge of the defense of the country. So there is this haphazardly brought up 19th Amendment, which says that the President cannot hold ministries. So there is an obvious conflict. Article 4 is far superior to any of the other articles which have been brought by amendment. So therefore, it clearly, President has the power and the mandate to hold defense portfolio.
All right. Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Sabry. Another question that came from the public is, what of the law's delays? And that's a very Justice Ministry sort of responsibility, because the delays in Sri Lanka's laws and in the court system is incredible. Approximately 900,000 cases each year are rolled over to the next year and so on. What steps are you taking to reduce the law's delays?
Well, that's one of the reasons which kind of made me to accept this post. You know, we are all saddled with this long-standing laws delays issues. But probably I can't just give a yes or no kind of an answer. There is a lot of multi-pronged attack to do this, because this is so bad, the situation is, I concede with you. Being a practicing lawyer, sometimes you are lucky if you can conclude your land case in 10 years. Most often the average is about 20 years. If you do an age analysis of some of the cases in the Supreme Court, is, as you say, a minimum of 20 years. So this is not great. I don't have a quick fix like that, but I know the problem, and we have done so many reports in the past. We will try to implement it. I think rather than just giving hefty promises, I just want to implement it.
Right.
In my parlor, let the bat do the talk, do the talking.
Yeah.
So probably just to give you a few updates, is digitalization is one of the priorities. And then, of course, getting the numbers of the court houses is another priority. Getting the Supreme Court judges' numbers increased is another priority. Then changing some of these archaic laws is one of the other priority. So there are so many things to be done. I know it's a gigantic task, but somebody has to do it.
When it comes to traffic cases in the traffic court, for example, if I have to go in there, I can't just go by myself, because I can't pay the fine once I'm found guilty. So I need to take somebody else. So that means two people out of the economy for the whole day. I was wondering, is there a way that we can, on certain offences up to a certain limit, why can't we pay it online?
So that's a good suggestion. I think I will definitely look into this. I mean, to be honest, though I have gone through so many areas in this. In fact, in 2016, I was heading the National Law Conference, in which the whole theme was laws delays in different areas. But this is an area, to be honest, it had not come to my mind, and it is not a suggestion which came to my mind either. But it looks very interesting. I will see the possibility and practical ability to do so.
Right. The other question, again, very current, is that due to the pandemic that's sort of affected the whole world, that prisoners are not being allowed to have visitors. Is there no possibility, or can there not be a possibility created for remand prisoners to at least talk to their family, whoever, either by way of a telephone call or maybe an intercom system if the people turn up.
We should be doing that by the State Minister, Dr. Fernando Pillai, just took oath yesterday.
Right.
I will be took charge of the duties yesterday.
Right.
I'll be going to take over the ministry only on Monday evening.
Right.
So we will look into that. And in fact, if you look at the accused are not brought to the courts any longer.
Yes.
They are being interviewed through a video conference. So I don't see why we can't do what you are suggesting also. I will have a look at it and I'll take note of it.
And as the Justice Minister, are you aware, will you be trying to introduce a campaign finance bill
to be honest, that's not in one of my immediate priorities right now.
Right.
We'll consider that as it goes along.
And of course, before I come to my main question, very quickly I want to ask you, what are you doing about the Muslim Marriages Act?
Muslim marriage, Divorce and Marriage Act need serious consideration. I will definitely take that on. And if you look at certain things like underage marriages have to be settled, we will deal with it. I'm not going to just waste another 9 years on that.
Right.
So we will first study the thing.
Yeah.
Speak to there are two.
Because the reason I'm asking is almost every politician in Sri Lanka speaks about one nation, one Sri Lanka, one flag and all that, and one law. But here clearly it's more than one law. And that to me is suggesting that the system encourages alienation of the different communities.
That's an interesting perspective. Basically, we need to carefully do this because these laws are there for the last 200 years. So if you overnight, you should just try to take it away totally, there can be issues. But in the meantime, underage marriages cannot allow to sustain. Then personally, there are issues. At the end of the day, it is the cabinet which decides the policy, which directs the policy. So I am here to carry out the cabinet decisions.
Right.
So as the which relevant to my particular area, which is Ministry of Justice. So whatever the cabinet take that decision, we have to implement it. So we can have internal discussions in the cabinet, we can have disagreement in the cabinet, but once the cabinet come to a conclusion, we are collectively responsible for that.
So this is not something that you can do on your own?
I can't do it on my own at all.
Now, one of the other matters, several questions that came during the day, is of course something called the bond matter. I know that it's probably incorrect to call it the scam, but because you're a lawyer, so I'm calling it, because you here, I'm calling it the bond matter. It is, I think, item 2 on President Nandasena Gotabaya Rajapaksa's manifesto. He says that he will hold everyone accountable, and I'd like to ask you, as the new Minister of Justice, what is your commitment to resolve this matter that obviously is of grave national import?
Actually, already those accused have been indicted before the High Court, that is Special High Court, which have been heard on a day-to-day basis. But Mr. Arjun Mahendran, he had been absconding.
Yeah.
So without him, there is a technical problem of starting the trial. So
can you not start without his presence here?
Actually, you have to first serve the summons on him.
Right.
You have to be given because he is also an accused. He is one of the main accused.
Yeah.
So that technical process is going on now.
Right.
As government has taken the decision, already the summons have been served, or we have requested the Singaporean government for extradition.
Right.
So let's see what is the progress on that. And
a full-page advertisement in the Straits Times of Singapore is not going to serve the purpose?
I don't know, it has to be. I mean, we will
I see that here in the papers, you know, when you see standard advertisements in the paper giving details that this property is going to be auctioned, blah, 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 you know. So the Straits Times, and it's peanuts for a government to pay, and it would have the desired effect to Mr. Mahendran, because obviously the Straits Times, this is not a plug for the Straits Times, but I'm wondering why we can't use the same thing and advertise the fact that he is wanted in Sri Lanka and serve notice on him.
No, I think there is a procedure which is laid down in the Extradition Act, so we need to follow that. I'm sure Honorable Attorney General and the Attorney General's Department is doing that. So let's see what is the progress on that.
All right, and is there, will there be, I'm sure that there are laws, but will you all implement where you all will be seeking to recover monies made through illegal means?
Money is made, this is regarding the bond scheme.
Yeah, I'm talking about the bond.
Yeah,
yes.
That has to be done. I mean, that of course this is, we all know, as a government or a minister, we can't personally get involved in the investigations.
Correct.
It is a matter for the police and also to the Honorable Attorney General. We can only ask the progress of the reports, you know. So we are behind it, President is behind it. Let's, we need to do that. If there is ill-gotten money, if the money is, if we can trace the assets into the money which have been made from bond or whatever, we should be able to go and recover that.
Another point, another contentious matter really is the implementation of the rules and regulations governing primary dealers, and clearly there's enough of evidence as that has come out through the Presidential Commission of Inquiry and so on, of details where the procedures have been violated by this primary dealer, and yet we find that the license of this primary dealer has not been cancelled. It is merely put on suspense for 6 months at a time. That's one. And the second, of course, is that they say that these treasury bonds that they have in their name is blocked off, but at the central bank they can't trade and so on. But why can't the government insist on cancelling the license and recovering the monies that they already got through the bonds?
Now, it's not that easy. Government can't immediately interfere and take that on. You have to have an inquiry. So that it is pending inquiry, only this suspension would have taken in. Yet the inquiry goes on. At the inquiry, after giving them a hearing, if they found to violate, as you say, on a after a proper inquiry, then the next step is cancellation. Right. Once the cancellation comes, but cancellation of the license itself will not lead into sequestrating their properties and all those things. That has to have a separate inquiry to show that this, but there are a criminal offence or insider dealing, and as a result of which whether the state has lost the funds. Right. But I'm sure we will take this up with the Honorable Attorney General.
I think the real question that I'm trying to ask you, Mr. Sabry, is whether President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has a real commitment to solving this matter, which obviously is a matter of great import, and I dare say that it affected the political fortunes of the United National Party at the last election.
Yeah, we have 100% commitment on that. We want to go to the root of it, and definitely we do.
And another question, Mr. Sabry, is ahead of a break which will take in about a minute, is will the independent commissions be done away with?
So that's a matter right now in for consideration. The cabinet finally will take a decision on that.
But again, it's on the cards to have a...
No, the whole 19th Amendment is under review.
Right.
So what to be done and not is not in the public domain yet. So I am also bound by the collective responsibility. There are two areas which we have disclosed as a party. Yeah. That is, we are not seeking anything more than 5-year term, because that is why President has been elected for.
Right.
So that will remain. And then the 2 terms of the president, the limitation of 2 terms, that will remain. Subject to that, everything else we are reviewing now.
What about the matter of dual nationals holding office?
So all those things are under review now.
Right.
So we are all discussing at the cabinet level, and ultimately the cabinet will take a call on that.
And on that note, we're going to take a short break. Don't go away. After all, we are in conversation with the Minister of Justice, Mr. Ali Sabry, and we'll be back after this short message.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. We're in conversation with Mr. Ali Sabry, the new Minister of Justice in Sri Lanka. Mr. Sabry, the Easter Sunday attacks, there's several questions and there is much concern, obviously, as to the progress and when we will have closure. And again, much of the country probably voted for President Rajapaksa on the basis of his proven track record in terms of security. So what's the update on that?
Now, good that you asked that question. Now, investigations are being carried out by the police and the other law enforcement authority. That comes under His Excellency the President,
right? Because
the Ministry of Defence had been always under him. So there is no question those investigations are carried on. Apart from that, there is an independent presidential commission which has been appointed and going on for the last 1 year or so. So that will have to conclude and the report has to come. And then based on those reports and everything, it has to go to the Honorable Attorney General. And then they will probably charge who is responsible. So in that sense, we are more than committed as a government to bring all perpetrators and accused or perpetrators and violators to the book. But in the same time, we also should ensure that innocence should also not be punished. Because that's not a right thing to do. Because if you get caught to it, what is happening? If an innocent person. So you have to have the right balance. A transparent, good inquiry is being held. So let's wait and see how the outcome. On the part of the government, there is absolute commitment and there is no interference. That's the most important.
All the time, though, while you were saying this, I was wanting to ask you, some of these people who've been arrested have been kept under custody for well over a year now, suggesting that the investigation is slow. Again, a matter of grave national import.
Probably investigations is carrying on and hopefully they will prepare the papers and get the Honorable Attorney General. I saw something that they have sent to the Honorable Attorney General, and the Honorable Attorney General had responded to further investigate and send them complete report. So hopefully that's a very independent process which is taking place. There is no interference from the government at any level. So in that sense, I'm sure that there should be a finality in the near future.
Somebody is asking about whether, whilst you're looking at the Muslim Marriages Act, the MMDA, whether you will also look at the Qazi Court amendments or any developments there.
In fact, there had been a ministerial committee which was appointed about 10 years ago. After 9 years, they gave a report that also there are two different reports, a report and a dissenting report. So we need to study both those things and find out as to what is happening. But one thing is for certain, that we will act quickly. And I'm not going to waste any more time on that. But I need to quickly study that and present it to the cabinet. Once the cabinet approves it, we can get it done. And in that, Qadi Court is also very important area of it which has been looked into.
Also we want to ask you, okay, I'll ask the question. Do you get the feeling that you've been appointed because of your abilities in terms of the justice system, your experience as a lawyer, hands-on and so on? Or have you been picked because you are from a particular community and that there has a political connotation there.
Yeah, it's so sad in this country. In the 21st century, people still ask about your race and religion and all those things. We are all Sri Lankans. I have given oaths as a lawyer, second oath as a President's Counsel, third oath as a minister to uphold the constitution of this country. Ask questions like lost delays, ask questions like what is happening to investigation. Don't ask me about whether I'm Muslim or any other religion. Why, what a sad state of affairs in this country, you know. I know, I mean, it's not your question. This is how people are asking. I mean, we have not come here giving up a large practice just to waste our time here. We have a passion saying that there has to, something has to be done here. And I never asked for any other ministries. It is the President's prerogative and he have decided. Why should I be decided? I have 25 years of practice here. I've been there as a President's Counsel for the last 8 years, and I have a wide range of experience in all sorts of court, from Supreme Court to the LT, and from High Court to the Magistrate Court, and I've been the Deputy President of the Bar Association for 2 years, and Treasurer for 2 years, and Chairman of the Junior Bar Committee and the National Law Committee. So I have the system.
Right, you're within the system. There's no questioning your passion. Mr. Sabry, tell me, as the Minister of Justice, and drawing on your frustrations and your experiences as a lawyer right throughout the system, what will your focus be as the Minister of Justice, and what will you achieve? Because you're serving a president who is known for delivery. So what will you deliver?
My hope is to deliver on lost delays. That's what I am most passionate about.
Right.
Lost delays, somewhere or other we must arrest this and bring this down. Now, we are way on the bottom in the doing business index. So if you want to present our country as an investment destination, you have to come up on that ladder. So lost delays is one of the reasons. So that's my biggest passion. But there are so many other interesting, important things as you are asking. One is about these necessary reforms to the laws. People are asking about this one country, one law and all those things. So let's see what is the cabinet wants to do on that.
And also there's this anomaly in some similar cases. One person will get bail, the other one won't get bail. And then, you know, if a court orders somebody to be released today, it won't actually be released today because by the time you comply with the whole series of things and being brought in here, that's delay on the part for the person who's being remanded. What can you do to standardize this whole system of granting bail? You must know that. As a lawyer, you would have seen that happen.
And actually, in fact, I have already has had kind of an informal consultations or discussions with the Bar Association. So let the Bar Association come out with their proposals on that. We'll try to modernize it, and also the digitalization will help the course also in that.
Somebody is asking you, will you also act with a straight bat when it comes to either former politicians, current politicians, whoever, who have cases against them?
Now, this is again a misconception. I have nothing to do with the cases.
Right.
Investigations are being carried out by the police. Police is not under me. Whether to charge or not is being decided by Honorable Attorney General. That's an independent office. Who is guilty or not is being decided by courts, which is a totally separate arm of the government. What I could do is to provide logistical support. What we could do as a government: change the laws, amend the laws, introduce new laws, get out of archaic law, give them the infrastructure, digitalize the thing. That is what we can provide. Not getting into no minister has the ability to decide who should be prosecuted or not. It shouldn't be the case.
Last question just before we finish, Mr. Sabry. What is your stand on the death penalty?
Death penalty, I am one of the person who appeared against death penalty in the Supreme Court when we challenged. But to be honest, having seen the kind of thing that is happening, you know, from the prison, particularly with regard to the drugs and things like that. I don't know, I mean, I am against death penalty, but something has to be done also.
And I think, last question, because your answer was short and to the point. Last question is, do you believe that the president of the country should retain the right to pardon anyone?
He should retain, because there could be exceptional circumstances, but it could only be used in highly exceptional circumstances, subject to the guidelines given in law.
Because there is a process.
Exactly.
It isn't just the president waking up one morning and saying, "I'll release X, Y, Z."
No, there is a process. That process has to be followed.
Right. And so you will support that, provided this process is followed.
That actually, that's a decision for the president himself, His Excellency the President himself.
Right.
If my opinion is sought, I will strictly ask to follow the procedure laid down in law.
Right. Mr. Ali Sabry, thank you very much for coming in, even before taking your office.
Thank you.
So we wish you, on behalf of the network, on behalf of the people actually, we wish you every good luck and every best wish.
Thank you very much.
And we hope that you will be successful, especially in terms of the law's delays.
Thank you very much.
And that's the way it was on Newsline. Time for the news now, of course. Take care, have a great weekend ahead of you, and of course, as always, God bless.